So I just want to step through how this works. First of all, natural gas up in number 1 is pumped out of the ground. It's piped over to a processing plant where natural gas is burnt in order to power the separation. That produces CO2, which is emitted to the atmosphere. So that's emission 1. The natural gas is then sold and burnt in houses or power plants. That's emission 2. The CO2 that was separated is then taken to a compression plant to compress it to the high pressures that it must be at to inject it underground. That requires more energy, so more natural gas is burnt to do that. The CO2 from burning that is released to the atmosphere. Then it's injected deep into the ground. It flushes out oil, and the mixture comes back up. And the oil then is sent to be sold, and it's combusted, which produces more CO2. So that's how the system works. And now what I want to do is show you how these numbers add up at the largest site, the site that's about 1/3 of the capacity in the country, the Exxon Chute Creek or LaBarge facility site. So this site, the gas is kind of lousy. It's about 1/5 methane and 2/3 CO2. And over the years, they've taken a half of the CO2 that they pump up and used it for enhanced oil recovery, and half of it just vented to the atmosphere. So that right there makes the natural gas from this project worse than coal when you burn it for producing power. So here's how it's worked over the years. They've pumped up 240 megatons out of the ground. I'm approximating here, they emit carbon in order to do the separation. They emit more carbon in order to power the compression. And then they injected half of that CO2 back into the ground. This is what they claim as CCS. This is the big claim from Exxon. They injected half back into the ground. But they also sell the methane, which is combusted, produces more CO2. They sell the oil, which is combusted and produces more CO2. And undoubtedly, there are methane leaks in here, which is a very strong greenhouse gas. So if we add that all up, we get something like 0.5 gigaton. So I won't get into the numbers, but as it sounds, that's a big number, more than 10% of US annual emissions. But this is their claim. So I don't think it's a coincidence that when Exxon advertises this, they advertise that they have, how do they put it? Well, they've captured more CO2 than anyone else, and they use the number of 120 megatons. So this is a greenhouse gas disaster that is subsidized to prevent climate change and then is advertised as a climate solution.